We purchased our house earlier this year. Part of the agreement was the seller being able to stay in the home 2 weeks after closing. Dun, 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 right? They got the keys to the house. The home was filthy. There were piles of junk in the yard and in the garage. Are the sellers responsible for the cost of cleaning that home up, Brandon?
Oh, what a mess, right? Literally and figuratively. So just take a step back. What's being referred to a lot of time is fairly common and can be a advantageous situation, what's called a rent back situation. So for whatever reason, the sellers, and it could be a variety of things, needed to stay in the home, whether they're building or have their new home in place, but it was a value of them to stay in the home a week, 2 weeks, in this case 2 weeks after closing. And that's, I'd say, not uncommon. We deal with this probably a handful of times every year, and it's a good thing. That being said, you really have to dot your I's and cross your T's to avoid situations like this.
Is it all in the paperwork going in, so you have signed everything?
Absolutely. So it's not as simple as just saying, hey, can I stay in the home an extra 2 weeks, and the buyer agreeing to it, especially if you're representing the buyer as an agent. And this is where we kind of are dedicated to know, we've done this before, is you really have to have the paperwork in place to, as best as possible, prevent this type of scenario from happening. And so what you do is, it's referred to as like a rent back. So can you get a deposit from the sellers? Absolutely.
Right.
What I think is paramount, and what we've coached our people through, is even though you're not taking possession of the day of closing, you still want to do a walkthrough on the day of closing.
It's still your house, right?
You own the house. Right. So I would absolutely, it's imperative that you do a walkthrough. And if it is in that condition at the time of closing, now you can address it prior to closing. Or you can say, we want an increased deposit. Or you can put something further in writing to say, these things need to be remedied by a possession. So I get that you're still moving. I get you still have stuff in the yard and the garage. But are we further reiterating that these are going to be gone? So it's being proactive through that process and trying to prevent things like this.